Baseball has always been a game of legends, of towering figures whose names echo through the ages. Yet every so often, there emerges a player who defies expectation, someone who doesn't fit the mold, who shatters the conventional wisdom of what greatness should look like. In the late 2000s, when television ratings sagged and casual fans drifted away, one small, wiry right-hander captured the imagination of an entire generation. He wasn't built like a typical pitcher, nor did he carry the intimidation of a 6'5" powerhouse. Instead, Tim Lincecum, the kid from Bellevue, Washington, with hair flowing and a frame that seemed better suited to a classroom than a pitcher's mound, became the heartbeat of a city and the embodiment of baseball's wild unpredictability. He was called the Freak, but to fans he was something far more, a reminder that magic could still happen on a diamond. His journey would span triumphs that felt mythic, collapses that revealed his humanity, and moments that remain etched forever in the sport's memory. To understand Tim Lincecum is to step into a story of brilliance and fragility, of dominance and decline, of a star that burned brighter than most and faded all too soon. Timothy Leroy. Lincecum was born June 15, 1984, in the quiet suburb of Bellevue, Washington. From the beginning, baseball was more than a pastime. It was a lifeline, a bond between father and son. Chris Lincecum, Tim's father, was a self-taught pitching enthusiast who believed his boy carried a gift unlike any other. Armed with a camcorder, Chris filmed every practice, every throw, every awkward motion, and together they dissected the mechanics late into the night. What emerged was something the baseball world had never quite seen before. A delivery that looked violent, almost uncontrolled, yet generated explosive velocity. Coaches doubted it, skeptics dismissed it, but the results spoke louder than any critique. By the time Tim was a teenager, the legend was already taking root in local ballparks, where a slender kid baffled hitters twice his size with pitches that darted and dived as if guided by unseen strings. His high school years only deepened that reputation, culminating in a Player of the Year award in Washington State, a sign that the freakish gift his father believed in was real. The Chicago Cubs drafted him in 2003, but he refused to sign. For Tim, it wasn't about rushing to the majors, it was about respect, about securing a future that could also allow his father, the architect of his unique mechanics, to finally rest from the grind of working multiple jobs. At the University of Washington, the nickname that would follow him forever was born. Teammates called him the Freak, half in awe, half in disbelief at how someone so slight could make a baseball explode from his hand as if fired from a cannon. In college, he dominated the Pac-10, capturing the Golden Spikes Award, the most prestigious honor for an amateur player in America. His ERA plummeted, his strikeouts soared, and the scouts who once passed him over now circled like hawks. But Tim wasn't swayed by the first offer that came his way. In 2005, the Cleveland Indians tried to sign him with a hefty bonus, and he turned it down. He was holding out for something bigger, a deal that matched his worth and his father's sacrifices. That moment showed more than patience. It showed steel, the kind of determination that would serve him well in a career where every pitch, every count, every inning could turn into a war. When the San Francisco Giants selected him 10th overall in 2006, everything changed. Not only did the Giants see the potential, but they backed it with a record signing bonus, the largest they had ever given to an amateur. The investment paid off instantly. In the minor leagues, Lincecum's dominance was otherworldly. Hitters looked overmatched, swinging through fastballs that climbed into the high 90s and collapsing helplessly against his signature split-finger changeup. That pitch, falling off the table at the last second, was more than unhittable. It was humiliating for batters who thought they had timed it right. Within months, he became the #1 prospect in the organization, and the 11th in all of baseball. His ascent wasn't gradual, it was meteoric. AAA hitters, many of whom had tasted the majors, fared no better. A 19-inning scoreless streak, a strikeout rate that seemed plucked from video games, and a presence on the mound that belied his frame convinced the Giants there was no reason to wait. On May 6, 2007, the baseball world got its first look at the freak on a Sunday night in San Francisco. The debut wasn't storybook. Shane Victorino sent a pitch soaring over the fence before Lincecum recorded an out. Ryan Howard followed with his own home run, a reminder that raw stuff alone didn't guarantee dominance at the game's highest level. But there was something in the way Lincecum rebounded, striking out the side after the early stumble, that hinted at his resilience. His fastball touched 98 miles per hour, rare for a starter in that era, rarer still for someone 5'11" and 170 pounds. He finished his rookie season with flashes of brilliance, including a July stretch where he went undefeated with a minuscule ERA, enough to put the league on notice. The whispers grew louder. This kid wasn't just another prospect, he was a phenomenon. He carried himself with a quiet calm, a surfer's demeanor that fit perfectly in the Bay Area, but on the mound, he was all fire, an artist painting with velocity, movement, and deception. By 2008, the transformation was complete. Lincecum wasn't just the Giants' ace, he was the best pitcher in baseball. His first full season saw him rack up 18 wins, a 2.62 ERA, and a staggering 265 strikeouts. He broke the Giants' single-season strikeout record and won his first Cy Young Award, becoming only the second player in franchise history to claim the honor. In a league still boasting names like Johan Santana and CC Sabathia, Lincecum rose above them all. It wasn't supposed to happen. Pitchers built like him weren't meant to survive, let alone dominate. Yet there he was, his long, whipping delivery, hair bouncing with every pitch, leaving hitters guessing and fans marveling. San Francisco, a city starved for baseball glory, found its savior. The following year only deepened the legend. And another Cy Young, this time with 261 strikeouts and an ERA under 2.50. He became the first pitcher in Major League history to win the award in his first 2 full seasons. He graced magazine covers, starred in commercials, and brought a swagger to a Giants franchise that had been searching for an identity since Barry Bonds' controversial departure. Randy Johnson, one of the greatest pitchers of his generation, called him a dying breed, someone whose dominance recalled an earlier, purer era of pitching brilliance. Every 5 days, fans circled the calendar. It was Timmy Day, and AT&T Park buzzed like it hadn't in decades. But Lincecum wasn't just a regular season marvel. In 2010, when the Giants clawed their way into the playoffs, the bright lights of October revealed another layer to his greatness. In his postseason debut, he threw a complete game shutout, striking out 14 Braves in one of the most dominant playoff performances in history. That October, he carried the Giants on his small shoulders, delivering wins against the Phillies and then against the Texas Rangers in the World Series. His Game 5 masterpiece, 8 innings with 10 strikeouts to clinch the championship, ended a 56-year drought and etched his name into Giants lore forever. The image of Lincecum, arms raised, teammates swarming, became the defining snapshot of a new dynasty. He was only 26 years old. For the next couple of years, the brilliance continued. 4 straight All-Star selections, 200 strikeouts like clockwork, and records falling in his wake. By 2011, he had recorded his 1,000th strikeout faster than any Giant in history. Fans debated not whether he would make the Hall of Fame, but where he would rank among the all-time greats. He wasn't just a star, he was a phenomenon, a cultural icon whose baggy uniforms, shaggy hair, and youthful energy gave baseball a face that resonated beyond the traditional audience. In the bleachers at AT&T Park, fans wore wigs to match his flowing locks, held signs reading, "Let Timmy Smoke," a nod to his offbeat, carefree persona, and chanted with every two-strike count. He was San Francisco's rock star. Yet baseball is a cruel game, and its gods are often unforgiving. By 2012, the cracks began to show. His ERA ballooned, his command wavered, and the once dominant ace looked mortal. For the first time, he faced questions about his mechanics, his velocity, his future. He went from being the Game 1 starter to a bullpen arm in the postseason. But even there, in the shadows of his own decline, he delivered. Out of the bullpen, he became a weapon, striking out 17 batters in just 13 innings across the playoffs, helping the Giants capture another World Series. His willingness to adapt, to swallow pride and serve wherever the team needed him, endeared him even more to fans. He was no longer invincible, but he was still indispensable. The years that followed were a mixture of magic and mediocrity. In 2013, he threw the first no-hitter in Padres history, a 148-pitch epic that showcased flashes of the old Timmy. A year later, he did it again, another no-hitter against San Diego, becoming one of only a handful of pitchers in history to throw multiple no-nos. Those nights reminded everyone of what he had been, of the brilliance that still flickered even as his overall numbers declined. But the consistency was gone. Injuries mounted, velocity dipped, and the same delivery that had once baffled hitters now seemed to take its toll on his own body. By 2015, hip injuries forced surgery, and his time with the Giants, the only team he had ever known, came to an end. He attempted comebacks with the Angels and Rangers, but the magic was gone. The fastball that once kissed 98 now barely reached the low 90s. The split change no longer fooled hitters. The freak, the franchise, big-time Timmy Jim, he had burned so bright that the flame could not last. By 2018, after a failed stint in the minors, his career quietly ended, not with a farewell tour, but with silence, the kind that so often greets athletes whose time comes sooner than expected. And yet, to measure Tim Lincecum by the brevity of his career is to misunderstand his legacy. In 10 years, he achieved what many pitchers never touch in 22. 2 Cy Young Awards, 3 World Series rings, 2 no-hitters, 4 All-Star selections, and a Babe Ruth Award for postseason excellence. More than the numbers, though, it was the way he made people feel. He made the game fun again, unpredictable, electric. He gave a city its first championship, then 2 more. He reminded everyone that baseball, for all its tradition and logic, could still produce miracles. For kids who didn't fit the mold, who were told they were too small, too weak, too different, he was proof that they could dream. Today, Lincecum lives largely out of the public eye. He doesn't chase the spotlight, doesn't bask in the nostalgia. Perhaps that's fitting. His entire career was about defying what others thought he should be, and now he defines retirement on his own terms. To Giants fans, he will always be the freak, the unlikely hero who carried them to glory. To baseball, he will always be a reminder that greatness isn't measured by size or longevity, but by the moments that take your breath away. Baseball is filled with legends whose careers stretch decades, whose names are carved into Cooperstown. Tim Lincecum may never join them, but in many ways he doesn't need to. His legacy isn't in plaques or speeches. It's in the roar of a crowd as he struck out the side, in the stunned silence of hitters walking back to the dugout, shaking their heads, in the joy of a city that finally saw a parade down Market Street. He was a comet, blazing across the sky, impossible to ignore, unforgettable, even after he was gone. And for those who watched, for those who believed, there will truly never be another Tim Lincecum. Tim Lincecum's story is one of the most captivating in modern baseball, not because it followed the script of enduring greatness, but because it broke from it entirely. He arrived as an outsider, a body type that scouts doubted, a delivery that looked unsustainable, a personality that seemed too laid back for the cutthroat world of professional sports. Yet he conquered the game's biggest stages, humbled the best hitters, and gave San Francisco a dynasty it had long craved. He did it not with brute strength or longevity, but with artistry, ingenuity, and a competitive fire that burned as fiercely as his fastball once did. His fall was swift, his career short, but that only made the brilliance of his prime shine brighter. In the end, his legacy isn't just the trophies or the statistics. It's the inspiration he offered to every young dreamer who was told they weren't enough. He proved that greatness can come in unexpected forms, that magic can still surprise us, and that sometimes the most unforgettable stars are the ones who burn brightest, even if only for a fleeting moment. In the annals of baseball, Tim Lincecum's light will never fade.